Hello, and welcome to Module 2 of the online course Next Generation Trade Facilitation. In this module, we will cover 5 institutional arrangements and cooperation measures featured in the UN Global Survey on Digital and Sustainable Trade Facilitation. These measures are establishing a National Trade Facilitation Committee, NTFC, or similar body, National Legislative Framework and Institutional Arrangements for Border Agency Cooperation, governmental agencies delegating border controls to customs authorities, alignment of working days and hours with neighboring countries at border crossings, and alignment of formalities and procedures with neighboring countries at border crossings. Institutional cooperation is of critical importance for implementing TFA. However, the lack of cooperation and coordination between government border authorities is a common challenge. Government agencies can be siloed and are often not designed with extensive horizontal coordination. Competition between agencies involved in trade facilitation initiatives could also lead to duplication of responsibilities, making cross-border trade inefficient. Border agency cooperation has 2 dimensions. The first dimension is the coordination and cooperation of border agencies at national levels. This coordination can reduce compliance and enforcement costs by simplifying trade documents, harmonizing physical inspections, streamlining management, etc. Another dimension is coordination with neighboring countries for customs cooperation and the exchange of information. The first measure is the establishment of an NTFC or a similar body. This measure corresponds to Article 23 of TFA, which sets binding obligations for members to establish a National Trade Facilitation Committee, NTFC, or a similar body to engage in domestic coordination and implementation of the provisions of the TFA. An NTFC becomes the most suitable instrument for coordinating trade facilitation policies among different agencies and conducting stakeholder consultation with public and private sector participants. UNCTAD has actively participated in and supported the establishment of NTFCs in developing countries and provides a database on trade facilitation bodies around the world. This helps stakeholders to find out how a National Trade Facilitation Committee is performing compared to other committees in a specific region or globally. It also provides information on recommended practices. Now we move to National Legislative Framework and Institutional Arrangements for Border Agency Cooperation. Besides customs, many governmental agencies share responsibility for regulating and controlling imports, exports, and transit of commercial goods. These agencies have responsibility for agri-food products, immigration, environment, health, telecommunications, collection of taxes and duties, transport safety, police and security services, etc. Agency cooperation and coordination on the national as well as the cross-border level rests upon a solid legal and institutional framework. On the national level, agencies enter into Memoranda of Understanding, MOU, that describe each party's roles and responsibilities. On the cross-border level, cooperation requires bilateral agreements between 2 governments. For instance, in the Philippines, the Interagency Coordinated Border Management MOU was signed by 29 government agencies in 2020. The main objectives of the MOU are to institute a systematic mechanism for sharing information among government agencies in order to strengthen border control capabilities, to prevent smuggling activities and customs fraud, and to promote public health protection, fair trade practices, and sound regulatory foundation for domestic and international trade. These will also promote interagency coordination and cooperation with the goal of maximizing utilization of data and information resources for the protection and common good of the people. Now we move to government agencies delegating border controls to customs authorities. As introduced in the previous measure, many governmental agencies share responsibility for regulating and controlling trade. Administrative control agencies such as health, agriculture, inspections, and standards are either created at the same time, or their administrative authorities are delegated to the customs agency to ensure streamlined and consistent border control practices. In China, to improve the efficiency of customs services, the entry, exit, inspection, and quarantine duties of the General Administration of Quality Supervision, Inspection, and Quarantine, AQSIQ, were integrated into the General Administration of Customs, GAC, in 2018. This restructuring removes the duplication of responsibilities between existing trade-related agencies to make customs clearance more efficient and service-oriented. The next measure is the alignment of working days and hours with neighboring countries at border crossings. TFA Article 8.2a aims to promote cooperation and coordination by aligning working days and hours, particularly in the context of two neighboring country customs offices. Having the same opening hours across the border will help them maximize the daily volume of cross-border traffic. For instance, the ASEAN Framework Agreement on the Facilitation of Goods in Transit urges the contracting parties to coordinate working hours of the adjacent border posts. Article 4 of Greater Mekong Sub-Region Cross-Border Trade Agreement, GMSCBTA, provides for the coordination of working hours of the frontier posts, as well as for the advance exchange of information on goods and people to facilitate their clearance. Now we move to the alignment of formalities and procedures with neighboring countries at border crossings. Article 8.2b of TFA provides for the alignment of procedures and formalities, development and sharing of common facilities, and the joint control and establishment of one-stop border posts. For example, to address cross-border cooperation, Zambia has set up one-stop border posts for the alignment of working days and hours, alignment of procedures and formalities, development and sharing of common facilities, and joint controls with its neighboring countries. The Chirundu one-stop border post with Zambia and Zimbabwe has reduced processing times and transport costs, and has achieved efficiency and effectiveness in border operations. In this module, we have learned institutional arrangements and cooperation and recommended practices. The border environment is complex and includes a variety of actors with conflicting interests. Institutional arrangement and border agency cooperation are essential for implementing trade facilitation. Interagency arrangements can be achieved in many different ways. Countries need to review the mapping of existing mandates and operations to streamline border agencies' operations and organize capacity building for NTFC to build consensus and foster cooperation among different stakeholders. For more information, be sure to visit our website for the list of resources.